You know what I have to tell you? I'm just trying to say what I mean and mean what I say. And by doing that, boy, last night I did not make any friends in Washington. And I've got like 2 there. Not anymore. You have to hear what some of the politicians said yesterday via email after I went after the guys, Republicans and Democrats, that put earmarks into this bill. That's coming up next. Earmarks. Earmarks. What are they exactly? I invited all the Republicans who request earmarks to come on my show yesterday. I mean, expect it from Democrats, but yesterday I listed the names of Republicans who requested earmarks in the omnibus spending bill. Oh, you should have seen the email that came in. Oh, there's Tad. You should have seen the email that came into my office. Not really happy with me. In fact, Senator Tad Cochran, when I called him out and he had one of the 950,000 earmarks, or the 9,000 earmarks. He asked for almost a $1 million earmark, requested for a nature education center in Moss Point, Mississippi. I got kind of a hot email from his staff, and they pointed out that I was wrong. His name is Thad, not Tad. So I apologize. But what I won't apologize for is calling him a hypocrite. His office responded by sending me an email, and here it is. Now, wait, before we put this up, I want you to know, they asked me not to expose this email, and we haven't exposed all of this email, and this is just one that we got. We got a lot from left and right, Republican and Democrat, that really are unhappy with this show. And the attorneys here said, you can put this up. I decided that I wasn't going to put all of this up. In fact, I decided at first I wasn't going to put any of it up. And then I realized that one of them called up my producer, Virginia, and screamed about 3 minutes before we went on air and said, "You don't dare put this up and use him as an example. You don't dare put Tad's earmark up and use it as an example." Really? You know what? It goes back to our 9 principles. You work for me. The Washington power elite makes me want to vomit. You work for me, and you work for Aaron, and you work for Oscar. You work for all of us. You work for us, not the other way around. We're not afraid of you. You should be afraid of us, and not me and the media. Just me, just regular old Glenn. Here's the full screen. I decided to do this because they work for me. I own the computer that they're writing this on. Wow, your boss just called my boss a hypocrite. Why would we go on that show after that? Especially after I had been communicating with you in good faith all day. Stop just a second. I want to tell you what that communication was all day. We were calling all day long. They never returned our messages until 3 minutes before the show. 3 minutes. And then she goes on, and then he got his name wrong. I don't know how you could think that's an example of good journalism. The assertion that Thad Cochran has not said what he meant and meant what he said is completely unfair based on the information I sent you. Send me one example where Tad has said something about earmarks that's contradictory to what he has done. Oh, I'm sorry, Tad, that I misunderstood. I just thought that you'd be a hypocrite because you'd be a part of the party that is supposed to be responsible in spending. You notice Rome is burning right now. But go ahead. You get that nature center all built. Here's Congressman Jeff Flake from Arizona. Congressman, you are one of the few people in Washington that actually have sworn off earmarks. Congratulations, sir. You're pretty alone, aren't you?
Thank you.
You're alone, aren't you?
Oh, there are a few more of us this year than there are more today than there were yesterday.
Okay.
So we're growing.
I actually had responses from some congressmen that said, "We don't have a state income tax. How are we going to pay for these things?" And my response was, if your own people in your own state won't pay for it, what do you say? Why should I?
Well, when you look at some of these earmarks, $1.8 million for swine odor control in Nebraska or Iowa, you have to think, nobody would pay for that locally. It would only be the federal taxpayer who would do that. That's why these are done. Nobody will pay for them.
That's
locally.
right. I mean, if the people
rightly
who are
so, in the most part,
if people who are smelling the pig poop aren't motivated enough to stop the smell of the pig poop, why should anybody in Virginia or Oregon pay for that? They should do it, right?
That's right. And
yeah.
Right, that's exactly right. At one point, you mentioned the hypocrisy of it. During President Obama's speech the other night, one of his greatest applause lines at all of us, and I can tell you everyone stood up and applauded, is when he said we should get rid of no-bid contracts in Iraq. Well, the very next day, we passed an omnibus spending bill with literally thousands of earmarks, which were no-bid contracts. If you give an earmark to a private company, you are you are literally giving that company a no-bid contract. And that's what we did thousands of times on Wednesday of this week.
Like I said, just the last break, words have no meaning anymore. Let me throw the banner down on the bottom. These are other people in Washington that have said no to earmarks. They are clean. I don't care what party they're in. Are they mainly, I haven't even looked at this list, are they mainly Republicans or are there some Democrats in there?
Well,
a couple of Democrats. Good for them. Good for them. Go ahead, Jeff.
Let me just say, in the omnibus spending bill, there were nearly 9,000 earmarks. 40% of them were Republican earmarks, and so our party has not got the message yet.
When are they going to get the message?
You know what? The party as a whole.
May I bring a camera down? I don't know. I want to see if I could get all of you guys that have sworn off earmarks into a Volkswagen Beetle. I mean, that's how sad it is that we can't even get the people. We probably have room. Okay, maybe we need to get but not an old Buick, but we might not. We might need to get a Buick and stuff you guys all in there to show the American people that, my gosh, look at, there are how many people in this building and we can all fit in a car.
Well, I have a feeling that by the end of the year there'll be more of us because people are waking up to this, and they're tired of it. Not just the wasteful stuff, but the stuff that, like I said,
I'm sorry,
the no-bid contracts. When you're actually giving money to companies, going outside, circumventing the regular process that you should have. And right now there's an investigation going on. The FBI is investigating a firm called PMA for campaign contributions that went to members who got earmarks.
And you introduced a bill
we just passed.
You introduced a bill to clean that up, to be able to say, we just want to look in this. We just want an investigation to see what earmarks are going to who. If there's any kind of funny business going on, you had people that wouldn't even vote on that. Yes or no?
Well, yes. I introduced a resolution, a privilege resolution this week to ask the House Ethics Committee to examine the relationship between campaign contributions and earmarks. And it was tabled by the majority party, meaning it was killed. And there were all but 2 Republicans voted with me to launch the investigation, and 17 Democrats voted to launch the investigation, but the rest voted to table it or to kill it. But it will be back.
Okay. Jeff, I appreciate it. Congressman, thank you very much. I appreciate it. By the